Hello, my name is Domingo Rivera, a candidate for the board. I've lived in this community 9 years, been married 20 years, have 3 children. 2 attend UCF on a scholarship. My daughter attends a trade school on a scholarship. I attended Mahan College, studied business administration. I currently work in the Postal Service, and here are the reasons why I am running. Currently, we have 2 members that don't reside in this community. Currently, this board has decided to delegate that responsibility to the security people that this community hired. But the thing is, there are things that security company cannot address. For example, there's a neighbor of mine who moved out, and a renter decided to put their car in the parking lot. That security personnel will not know that that car doesn't belong there. Another example is in the front of the community. There's a light that's been down since April. I've noticed it. I told the board about it, but it still hasn't been resolved. Those are little things that a board that has members present in the community can do. You know, we could respond quickly to gates that are down, to issues at the pool. And unfortunately, we got 2 members that are not here. And we need more members. Honestly, I believe all members should be here, living here. My second issue is this board has a member who's violating the bylaws, and they're not doing anything about it. I believe the board set the standard. This member has a bench right on her driveway. If she's the standard, then can I have a beach chair in my driveway? And the worst part about it is, in the last meeting, I addressed the board about it, and afterwards, you know what the board did? Nothing. The bench is still out there to this day. So basically, it's like when George Collins once said,
"It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club."
But it gets even worse. We have another board member, Pilar Gonzalez, who removed an owner's vines because it was not permitted. Technically, she vandalized his property because she didn't have board authority or the owner's knowledge. So she vandalized his property. Yet, the woman that she campaigned with last year, who she appoints to the board, she gets to keep her bench. Here's a video of the owner requesting that Pilar Gonzalez resign after vandalizing his property.
I have a bone to pick with you guys, at least one of your members who dared to come to my house and not even knock on my door. I shared the video with you guys, and to me, I think it was a total disrespect. Not only violating my right as a homeowner, I deserve at least to be notified and giving my 14 days through a letter or email or a smoke signal, something, right? You violated my rights, my HOA rights. You violated my property to come to my home, to tear down my property. 3 little vines on my wall. I see one house in the entrance here who has a jungle. You can't even see the wall, any of the wall. And you come to my house to do that. All I asked overall was for you to apologize to me, to come to my house, unannounced with somebody else. Unacceptable. Unacceptable in any condition. And I respond to your lawyer since you don't have the gut to actually apologize to me.
So it's rules for thee community, but not for the board. Rules for thee, your vines get taken down, but not for me. My bench stays there because I'm a board member. I'm in the club and you're not. Look, we cannot have that standard. This is already bad. The board's decision to retain the ineffective gate system. The most pressing issue in our community is this gate system. We have a lot of people that come into our community freely. All they got to do is just follow another car in. We have parents from other communities that park here to drop off their kids. We have, during the summer, many people, especially teenagers from outside the community entering and going into the pool. Now, when my wife was on the board, she proposed having a system with an arm and a speed bump, so only one vehicle at a time could have access into the community. But the problem is, in a board, you need another person to sign off. Nobody on this board wants that. They want to maintain the system. So the question is to you guys, do you want to have surgery or do you want to have Band-Aids? Because this system needs a total overhaul. But all this board is giving you is we're working on it. But the fact is this system cannot be worked on. You know, all you're going to put is Band-Aids, like a sign that says no parking. And yet people are just going to keep parking. The security system they have now responds to issues. What we need is a system that prevents issue, and that is why we need to revamp the whole gate. But it's up to you to decide, do you want to maintain the system? If you do, you got your candidates on the board. But if you want a complete overhaul, I'm proposing it. But even if I do get elected, it's not going to mean much because we still need one more person on board to agree. That's where you need to step up and say, you know what? I want a gate system that's more secure than this. The firing of Attorney Englert and the lame excuses for it. Attorney Englert was the lawyer that assisted this community in removing the old board. You know, she was gracious with her time and money to gain that victory. Now, there was an issue in which she stated that it was best to go with the recall, but many of the so-called leaders in the community disagreed. But Trish decided to go with what the attorney recommended, and it worked out in the end. After the election, the board that consisted of Trish, Troy, and Pilar decided to retain her services. But once Trish resigned, this new board decided to remove her. They never even mentioned it on their website. They didn't mention it on the October 17th meeting. It was only when Trish brought it up that we found out that the old attorney got fired. And to this date, we don't know who this new attorney is. Now, when Trish asked why Attorney Englert was fired, there were two excuses. One, the property manager, acting as the board's lawyer for some reason, kept stating it was the board decision, which is a non-answer. The second reason was the board needs to feel comfortable with whoever's on the board. And to me, the answer is just as bad as the first. Because how is the board making decisions? Is it making it in the best interest of the community? Or is it basing it on their comfort? So if somebody has the experience and expertise, but you personally don't feel comfortable, that means that the community doesn't deserve it, even though they have the experience and expertise. And on top of that, this woman was a friend to the community. And I don't feel that you should treat somebody like that because of your discomfort. We need the board to be transparent about their actions, to explain why they do things. But it starts off in the beginning. When we have a board member who is not forthright with divulging the fact that she doesn't even live here, that carries on to the board with other issues. If they're not being transparent, then guess what? They're not going to be and they haven't. One thing this board wants to sell our community is unity, that we need unity. The thing is, unity has to be based on principle. And it's funny, I wonder if Phil was still president, would they still be preaching unity? Of course, people have different personalities, but we should know where people stand. We should know whether it's a major issue like the front gate or a minor issue like the painting of the houses. Because when the election of that individual comes up, if you agree with them, you can vote for them. If you don't agree with them, you can vote them out. But right now, we don't know who's voting for what because they're under the guise of unity. And this is why the board has 3 members, because there's always a possibility that all 3 don't agree. So the second person will be the tiebreaker. And there are times you should not agree. If somebody's on the board is brazenly breaking the bylaws, there's no such thing as unity there. You should take a stand. If somebody vandalizes an owner's property, you should not have unity and say, let's make this president. You got to take a stand. If you fire a competent lawyer and hire whoever for the sake of unity, no, that's not real unity. What that is called is compromising your values, and no member should compromise their values. And as a community, we should know where the person stands. We should know why they did it and who did it. Not go under the guise of unity, unity, unity. Yes, in an ideal utopia, that would be great, but there'll never be unity because there's people with different perspectives. There's people with different agendas. Some people are there just to benefit their group, or groupies, as my wife would call it. They're not there for the benefit of the community. So to say we should have unity, that should be the ultimate goal. But the fact is, even in this community, is divided. There's people that want to keep the bylaws to the T. There's people that want to violate bylaws left and right. So there's never going to be unity. So it's up to you to determine if you want to permit this person on the board. But how are you going to know if you're going to permit this person if you don't know where they stand, or if you don't know what they voted for? That's why it's important that candidates should present their views. And if not, eventually we should know where they stood if they didn't present it as the year goes by, and then you can decide if you want to keep them or not.